After the daughter of actor Tommy Lee Jones was found dead in an upscale hotel on New Year's Day.
Tommy Lee Jones was found dead inside of a San Francisco.
On the very first morning of 2026, while the world was still glowing from fireworks and champagne, Tommy Lee Jones got a phone call that shattered the moment like glass. It wasn't a call of joy or celebration, it was the kind that stops your heartbeat cold. Paramedics had rushed to the Fairmont Hotel early Thursday morning after another guest found 34-year-old Victoria Jones unconscious on the floor from a suspected overdose. On the line wasn't his daughter's voice, it was law enforcement, steady, cold, and heavy with unspoken truth. They told him Victoria Kafka Jones had been found unresponsive inside her luxury hotel suite, details still unclear, tension thick in every breath. It was every parent's worst nightmare, delivered in that trained, emotionless tone that tries to sound calm but cuts deep anyway. The man audiences knew for his iron nerves and stone-cold roles didn't act this time. This was raw, real, and merciless. A father crumbling under a pain no script could ever prepare him for. For years, Tommy had fought beside his daughter through addiction's brutal grip, trusting that patience, love, and family could save her. But that shadow kept creeping back, colder, heavier, squeezing out hope, piece by piece. And now the questions came crashing in all at once. What really went down inside that hotel room? Was there anything he could have done differently? Or was this one of those cruel moments no parent can ever stop? The early hours of New Year's Day were still thick with silence, leftover laughter, and half-empty glasses when Tommy's phone buzzed again. He thought it was just a late holiday call. He picked up without a second thought, but the voice on the other end wasn't family or friends. It was the San Francisco Police Department. "Mr. Jones, we regret to inform you." Before the words even finished, his world started spinning. Tommy froze, phone trembling in his hand as reality hit like a hammer. All he could whisper was, "That's impossible." Emergency crews flooded the hotel halls as whispers turned into panic. Something serious had gone down. Reports later confirmed a call came in just before 3 a.m., and about 20 minutes later, officers reached the 14th floor, where they were told an adult woman had been found unresponsive, according to an inside source. Another guest had been the first to find Victoria lying still. At first they thought she'd just fainted, but when staff rushed in, the truth hit hard. This wasn't a simple collapse. The scene shifted fast from confusion to crisis. Early reports suggested a medical emergency, possibly tied to substance use, with officials later clarifying there were no signs of outside involvement or self-harm. The silence in that hallway said it all. Authorities stressed that the official results were still pending. No one could jump to conclusions yet. So many questions hung in the air. Was Victoria actually staying at the hotel, or just visiting someone? Investigators hadn't confirmed a thing. Not long after, the Jones family released a short but gut-wrenching statement, thanking everyone for their prayers and asking for privacy as they tried to process the unthinkable. "We appreciate all the prayers and compassion and ask for space during this time," the message read. Those close to the family said Tommy was completely shattered, surrounded by loved ones doing everything they could to protect each other from the blinding public attention. One friend described it as an irreplaceable loss, saying the family only wished for one thing, that Victoria be remembered as a real person, not just another tragic headline. As the story exploded online, fans began digging through Victoria's final interviews and public moments. One clip from just 3 months earlier resurfaced, a quiet sit-down on CNN. But what viewers saw wasn't the usual Hollywood confidence. They saw a father worn thin by sleepless nights and heartbreak, speaking softly about one wish to see his daughter finally find peace. Tommy had never sugarcoated her struggle. In one of his most emotional interviews, he called it the longest and most painful battle of his life as a father. He talked about driving her to rehab, waiting through long nights filled with fear, and holding her hand when hope felt like it was slipping away. Every word carried years of exhaustion and love. "I held her hand so many times," he said softly, "and I told her, you're not fighting alone." Then came the line that shattered viewers everywhere. "Sometimes love alone isn't enough." You could feel the pain behind every word. He described the hardest role he ever had to play, not one for the cameras but at home as a father trying to save his child, saying no when it hurt, setting boundaries that felt like punishment, living with the— "There were days she looked at me like I was the enemy," Tommy admitted with a deep sigh. "But if I didn't hold the line, I was afraid I'd lose her." The look in his eyes said it all. Fear, exhaustion, love, all twisted together in one expression that broke hearts everywhere. He talked about how Victoria would promise to change, to stay clean, to start over, and every single time he believed her. "I wanted to believe her," he said, voice trembling. "Because if I didn't, who would?" That belief became both his shield and his wound. Each relapse forced him to watch her slip further into a world he couldn't reach, no matter how hard he tried. Then he shared one story that broke everyone listening. One night, after Victoria agreed to go back to treatment, they sat in silence inside the car. No words, just heavy air filled with everything they didn't say. Tommy finally turned to her and whispered, "You just need to live. Just live. I don't need anything else." Victoria didn't speak, she only nodded, that tiny nod becoming his last thread of hope. He held onto it for months, believing that moment still meant something. Even just 3 months before that tragic New Year's morning, Tommy was still holding on, still convinced light could somehow find its way back into his daughter's life. He said softly that she was trying, some days brighter, some lost in shadow. Tommy understood too well that recovery was never a clean path. Still, he believed she had a real shot. She's smart, sensitive, and deep, he said. She wasn't meant to fade away. The medical examiner launched an investigation, but hadn't released the official cause of death. Those weren't just statements, they were the words of a father still refusing to let go. Yet behind that glimmer of hope lived exhaustion. He couldn't mask anymore. Tommy spoke honestly about the cruelest truth of all. Some fights, no matter how much love you pour in, a parent just can't win for their child. I can open every door, he admitted quietly, but I can't walk through it for her. When those words resurfaced later, they hit differently, haunting, almost prophetic. What once sounded like raw determination now carried the weight of grief. That old interview suddenly felt like a message from the edge, lines that once spoke of hope now echoing pure heartbreak. I just hope one day she wakes up and wants to live, he'd said. Those words froze in time, a father's plea that never stopped being true. In that moment, the world didn't see a Hollywood legend. They saw a man who gave everything he had left. He stayed when it hurt, he guided when she resisted, and he prayed long after certainty was gone. Victoria spent most of her life far from fame's spotlight, but to him she was always the brightest light of all. She valued her privacy deeply, rarely stepping into the spotlight with her father. But those who truly knew her remembered a woman full of warmth, creativity, and quiet brilliance, traits that now make her absence feel unbearably heavy. Every so often she'd appear beside Tommy at premieres or red carpets, but fame never had a hold on her. Born on September 3, 1991, to Tommy Lee Jones and his former wife, but her world wasn't all glitter and glam, it was split in two. One side full of Hollywood expectations, the other a quiet attempt at something real, something normal. After the divorce, Victoria and her brother Austin Leonard Jones spent much of their childhood away from their father's world of movie sets and fame. Still, Tommy stayed close, always making sure they knew he was there, no matter the distance. Their relationship was built on discipline and structure, not indulgence or privilege. Tommy once admitted that when Victoria joined him on set, she wasn't treated like the star's daughter. No special treatment, no easy path. He wanted her to earn every bit of it. Victoria Kafka Jones stepped into film quietly, her first role coming in Men in Black 2, where she appeared briefly beside her father Tommy Lee Jones. It wasn't a big debut or a publicity move, just a small genuine moment that hinted at something more. A few years later, she returned to the screen in The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada, a project directed by Tommy himself. In a 2006 interview with The New Yorker, he spoke with unshakable pride, calling Victoria naturally talented, quietly magnetic, and impressively fluent in Spanish. You could hear it in his voice. He truly believed she was destined for something great. Tommy once shared that when Victoria was little, he asked her babysitter to speak only Spanish around her. He wanted her to soak up the language naturally, no pressure, just curiosity. That spark for learning, and her quiet determination, made her stand out even then. She wasn't just Tommy's daughter. Victoria never chased fame. Her path in the arts was short, deliberate, and peaceful. After a few small roles, she quietly stepped away from the spotlight. As she grew into her teens, Hollywood simply drifted out of her world, not with scandal, but with space. Tommy once told a story that captured everything about them both, his tough love and her fearless, stubborn fire. When Victoria was about 14, she refused to wake up early for a film shoot, and Tommy made the tough call to send her home. Ironically, the crew believed in her so much they went to get her themselves and brought her back to set. After that, she did a few more small roles before walking away from acting completely. Unlike most children of stars, she never chased fame, followers, or red carpets. She chose privacy over applause, calm over chaos. As the years passed, Victoria pulled back almost entirely from public life. No interviews, no headlines, just distance. She was rarely seen, rarely mentioned, showing up only during quiet family gatherings or rare glimpses beside her father. From the outside, it looked peaceful, almost serene, but silence doesn't always mean everything's fine. Sometimes, it's just the only way to survive. In the past few years, Victoria's name began showing up in California court filings, and by 2023, Tommy had filed for temporary conservatorship in Marin County. He stated deep concern for his daughter's health and safety, citing her ongoing battle with severe addiction. His goal wasn't power, it was survival. He asked the court to approve her placement. At that point, Victoria was already under medical care in Greenbrae, where doctors reportedly warned she was at risk of self-harm. Tommy's filing wasn't about control, it was pure protection. A desperate father doing everything possible to save his child before it was too late. By 2025, public records revealed that things had only grown more fragile, more uncertain, and heartbreakingly unstable. In February, police in Napa County responded to a call after an argument broke out at a private residence. It was ruled accidental, no charges were filed. But just 2 months later, officers returned for a welfare check at another home, where Victoria was reportedly found heavily impaired and admitted to recent substance use. Soon after, she faced charges for possession and resisting, though officers later dismissed the claims, and she was released in May. But the calm didn't last. She was detained again in Santa Cruz County after another public disturbance, where authorities cited intoxication and resistance. The pattern was becoming impossible to ignore. Then came June 2025. At a luxury resort in Napa County, another confrontation spiraled out of control, ending with a domestic-related charge that marked yet another painful chapter in her long, unraveling struggle. Officials suspected substance involvement once again, though Victoria firmly denied the accusations and was released while awaiting trial. Those close to her later called that time one of the darkest chapters of her life. From a bright child who once stood beside her father on screen, she had become a young woman wrestling. Victoria's story turned into one of quiet endurance, a painful reminder that privilege doesn't erase pain and love doesn't always save the day. Some battles happen far from cameras, behind closed doors, where hope flickers in silence. The Jones family never issued public statements about those incidents, but the court records spoke volumes on their own, painting a heartbreaking portrait of struggle and survival that fame could never protect her from. It was a story of effort, concern, and a family fighting desperately to save one of their own. Even when the road kept twisting, the court records spoke louder than any interview ever could, a life burdened with more pain than her calm appearance ever showed. While the official cause hasn't been confirmed, an overwhelming wave of love and sympathy has surrounded Tommy Lee Jones and his family since the news broke. No matter the details, losing a child cuts deeper than words can reach, especially at the dawn of a new year meant for hope and fresh starts. The silence left behind in that hotel room still feels unbearably heavy, lingering in the air, waiting for answers that haven't come. For those watching closely, uncertainty became the loudest sound of all, a haunting echo of everything left unsaid. Online investigator Phil Waters shared his take, explaining that cases like this are often labeled suspicious early on, not because of clear evidence, but because there isn't any. No visible harm, no immediate explanation, just too many questions hanging in the air. Waters said that in such cases, police first lock down the area, calling in specialized units to secure. But when something like this happens inside a hotel, the challenge explodes instantly. Hotels are public worlds packed with private spaces, rooms, cameras, staff, and guests all moving constantly. Every room functions like its own home stacked over another, making control nearly impossible. Investigators sometimes have to seal entire hallways, even full floors, just to keep the scene clean. The chaos that follows is fast, messy, and full of mystery. To protect the integrity of the case, investigators have to work hand in hand with hotel management, respecting privacy while keeping the truth intact. It's a tightrope walk between preserving evidence and minimizing chaos for guests. Every second counts, every small delay matters. The list of variables feels endless: staff rotations, guests checking in and out, elevator trips, doors opening and closing. Any one of those moments could hold a clue or wipe one away. But investigators do have one major advantage: hotel surveillance. Modern luxury hotels are blanketed with cameras in the lobby, elevators, hallways, entrances, and exits. That network gives detectives a digital map of movements down to the second. Footage can reveal exactly when Victoria entered, which floors she visited, and whether she ever came back out. Add in digital keycard records and door access data, and investigators start piecing together a timeline that may finally explain what happened that night. Investigators are slowly piecing together a timeline, step by step, detail by detail. From there, the process turns methodical: interviews, phone logs, security footage, and minute-by-minute reconstructions. In today's world, almost every move leaves a trace, but stitching those traces together takes time, precision, and relentless patience. Still, one detail keeps haunting. Victoria was reportedly found alone, discovered by another hotel guest whose connection to her remains unclear. That single fact keeps raising serious questions. Why was this person there? What exactly did they see? Victoria Jones, the only daughter of legendary actor Tommy Lee Jones and his second wife, was a private soul who rarely invited outsiders into her world. Yet somehow, this stranger was the first to find her, and to this day, no one fully understands why. Why were they so close by? And what part, if any, did they play in her final hours? Those answers still sit just out of reach, leaving one haunting question that won't fade. Why was Victoria Kafka Jones, a young woman with so much left ahead, alone in that room? In tragedies like this, investigators start at the end, at the exact moment she was found, and then work backward, step by step, trying to retrace her final hours. Each discovery opens another mystery. Every clue leads to more uncertainty, and until those missing pieces fall into place, the silence of that hotel room lingers, heavy, unresolved, like a phone call that never gets answered. Authorities stated early on that there was no sign of criminal involvement, but words like that don't always bring peace. They can calm a crowd, but they rarely calm a grieving heart. It doesn't mean every possibility has been ruled out, it just means there were no visible signs yet. Real investigations are never clean or simple. Details shift, timelines twist, and what seems clear one day can look completely different the next. The lack of visible clues doesn't mean deeper truth. That's why law enforcement words things so carefully. Every statement counts. They have to balance honesty with caution, transparency with control. Every line they release can shape the story. With the world watching, their mission stays the same: uncover the truth without letting chaos take over. And if there's even a hint of danger or uncertainty, they move fast because time can change everything. Emotions run high, but investigators move slow, deliberate, focused, precise. Detectives don't rush to conclusions. They lock down the scene, document every single detail, and talk to anyone who might have seen or heard something. Hotel staff, guests, anyone nearby. Every hallway, every timestamp, every camera angle matters. Hotels aren't like private homes. They're living ecosystems with people coming and going non-stop. One event can ripple through dozens of layers: security systems, cleaning schedules, guest movements, turning order into chaos. Keeping control in that kind of environment is a challenge on its own. Sometimes entire hallways must be sealed off, even full floors isolated. It's a massive operation where investigators and hotel management must move in sync to protect the truth, while keeping the whole place from falling into panic. Building the timeline is everything, and in today's world it's nearly impossible for someone's final hours to vanish completely. Still, that doesn't make the process quick. Precision takes time, especially when the case involves someone tied to a public name. The pressure builds, emotions run wild, but facts must stay first. Medical experts become the backbone of this stage. Once the scene is secured, a careful and respectful medical examination begins. The absence of visible injuries doesn't close the book, it widens it. The real answers often hide beneath the surface. Heart irregularities, undetected conditions, chemical reactions, or dangerous substance interactions. Those truths don't reveal themselves instantly. They take testing, patience, and time. Only then does the full picture start to form. That's why extended lab testing becomes absolutely crucial. It's not just about identifying substances, it's about measuring levels, timing, and combinations, understanding exactly how the body reacted. Some traces disappear fast, others linger for weeks. This stage takes time, sometimes longer than anyone expects, because every number, every result has to be exact before any final word is given. Nothing can be rushed when the stakes are this high. Until results are confirmed, the case stays open, and for families that waiting feels endless. Each day drags on, each unanswered question cuts deeper, reopening the wound again and again. And through it all, there's one unspoken rule: investigators never break. The family must hear the truth first, before headlines, before reports, before the world starts talking. It's not just procedure, it's humanity. Behind every official update are real people carrying impossible grief. For Tommy Lee Jones, this isn't about fame, legacy, or career. It's about a father who truly believed. How many silent battles do we ignore every day? How many people are breaking quietly while the world scrolls by? Addiction and depression don't always scream. They whisper. They hide behind routines, polite smiles, and "I'm fine" conversations. Real compassion isn't pity, it's awareness. It's noticing when someone's gone quiet and caring enough to ask why before it's too late. It's about noticing when laughter sounds a little too forced, offering help before it's even asked. Because too often the signs are missed until the silence becomes permanent. This story matters because it reveals something raw about hope itself. Victoria Kafka Jones was the daughter of a Hollywood legend, a man with influence, resources, and reach most could only dream of. Yet her pain reflected that of countless others fighting the same quiet battle in the dark. Fame doesn't protect you from heartbreak, privilege doesn't promise peace, and money can't buy freedom from your own mind. For Tommy Lee Jones, none of this was about spotlight or status. It was about a father's desperate belief that love could heal what life kept breaking. He stayed through every relapse, every court visit, every sleepless night spent wondering if this time, finally, things might turn around. He was convinced that one day his daughter would choose life again, and when she did, even for a moment he treated it like a miracle. Every step forward mattered. Every good day felt like a victory carved out of chaos. In one of his final interviews before everything changed, only a father could say something that raw, defiant, hopeful, refusing to accept that her story should end this way. Those words now hang in the air like a quiet prayer. No theatrics, no performance, just heartbreak. Because at the core of all this isn't scandal or speculation, it's grief. It's a family trying to survive the kind of loss no one ever truly knows how to face. While the world watches from afar, the official reports will eventually come. Maybe they'll answer a few questions, maybe they'll clear up timelines, but they'll never fill the emptiness left behind. Truth matters. It brings dignity, offers clarity, and reminds the world to see the person beyond the tragedy. That's what this family truly deserves. Understanding, not noise. And for the rest of us, maybe this story is a quiet wake-up call to slow down, to check in, to stop assuming we know what someone else is carrying. Because sometimes, kindness doesn't look grand. It's a message, a pause, a moment of genuine attention. But for someone fighting silently in the dark, that small act can be everything. It can be the reason they choose to keep going. If this